Before we get into today's video, I just want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere, in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all are having a wonderful week so far. I hope everybody's feeling good. I hope everybody's getting some fresh air, more outside, more barefoot walks, all that good jazz. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how important it is to have a good group of friends. Before we get into it, though, I did want to let you guys know, if you don't already know, hi, my name is Christina. I do have a second channel, which is Casually Christina. We just do things way more casually over there. I also have a Patreon. My Patreon's for 18 and up, and over there we talk about more personal stuff. We go live over there. There's a $2 tier for all the true crime stuff that cannot go onto YouTube due to their terms and policies. That goes over on my Patreon under the $2 tier. Just make sure you read the full about section of what each tier offers before you join. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and I'm also on Like to Know It. And Like to Know It is a platform where you can find links to a lot of the things that I use and that I love and that y'all ask about. Everything from cooking utensils to workout gear, swimsuits, clothing items, skincare, makeup stuff, furniture, just about anything that I like or use or that y'all ask about. I post that over on my Like to Know It. And all of those platforms are linked down in the description box if you would like to come and check me out. So, okay. Again, having a good group of friends can be so important, especially for young adults, and especially just when they've graduated like high school and have gone away to college from their hometown, away from their family and their friends. That friend group really ends up becoming like your support system or your family. So with that being said, today I want to talk about a woman named Haley Anderson and her amazing group of friends. Haley Anderson was born on May 9th of 1994 in Long Island, New York to her parents, Karen and Gordon Anderson. She had one sister and her name is Madeline. In March of 2018, Haley was 22 years old and she was in her 5th year of nursing school at Binghamton University. She planned to graduate in May and she already had a job lined up with Northwell Health at an emergency room in one of the hospitals in Long Island. Now, while she was in school, Haley was working at a coffee shop called Jasmine's. She had worked there for over 3 years at this point. Friends of Haley all said that she was super friendly, she was free-spirited, she was hardworking, and she was very compassionate, always thinking about others. She had a love for music, and she really enjoyed hanging out with her roommates. On March 8th of 2018, Haley was up late playing board games and hanging out and drinking with her roommates until around 4 a.m. At around 4 a.m., they all went off to go to bed. But when Haley's roommate Josie woke up a few hours later, she realized that Haley was not in her bed. Now, this was not too concerning at first because they were college students and it wasn't unusual for Haley to go out at night. But later that day, Josie started to worry when Haley did not show up to the bar that they were all supposed to hang out at for poetry night. So Josie started looking at Haley's social media to see if she had posted anything that day, and it was completely silent. Nothing was posted by Haley, which was unusual. So Josie tried texting Haley, and then she tried to call her, but Haley did not answer. Now, as you can imagine, Josie started getting more and more worried at this point. I mean, what a great friend. Anybody that is in college, or if you have your children that go away to college, these are the type of people you are hoping that they're roommates with or hanging out with, that if they're not around or if they're not posting on their social media, their friends are looking for them. Now, fortunately, Josie had Haley's location set up in the Find My Friends app. So Josie and Haley's other roommate, Michelle, pulled up Haley's location and saw that she was actually at a house on Oak Street. So they pull it up on their phone. They say, okay, this is where she is. And as a matter of fact, we know exactly whose house this is. A 22-year-old man named Orlando Tercero lived there. Orlando was a dual citizen of the U.S. and Nicaragua. He was actually born in Miami, Florida, but he grew up in Nicaragua. Haley actually met Orlando through the nursing program that they were both in. They had an on-again, off-again relationship for about a year and a half. So when the friends pulled this phone up and they did the Find My Friends on the Find My iPhone app, they knew that she was at her on-again, off-again ex-boyfriend's house. Now, Orlando was known to be a really good-looking guy who did really well in his classes, but he definitely liked to party on the weekends. And according to Haley's friends, by this point, Haley had told them that she wanted to permanently break things off with Orlando. They had quite a bit of a toxic relationship. The previous year, in 2017, Orlando was suspected of slashing Haley's tires. Orlando reportedly caused about $600 in damage to Haley's car. Now, the night before this tire slashing incident, Haley and Orlando had apparently gotten into an argument over the fact that Haley had gotten back together with her ex. According to the police report, Orlando yelled at Haley, but then he offered her a drink to try to calm her down, but Haley wanted nothing to do with him, so she left. Now, the next morning, Haley and her ex went outside to see that her tires had been slashed, so that's when she called the police. And ultimately, though, she decided not to press any charges on Orlando. The cops told her that it would have been a felony charge because of the damage dollar amount, and Haley just did not want to put Orlando through that and have it on his record. So she's thinking he's going to this nursing program, he's got great grades, most people like him, she probably cared about him. You know how it is, that young, toxic, back and forth love. And he likes to party, he was probably drinking. She didn't want to ruin his life, so to say, by messing up his record. This is what she is thinking. And here's actual footage of the whole tire incident.
Slashed every single one.
Haley's friends said that Orlando actually seemed obsessed with Haley. They said that he would randomly drive by Haley's apartment, he would call her repeatedly, and sometimes he would just show up. They say that Orlando wanted a committed relationship with Haley, but Haley was not interested in being tied down while she was in college. Needless to say, Haley's roommates were a little surprised to see that Haley was actually at his house. So she's telling them all of this stuff. I don't want to be with him. He's, obsessed with me. He's driving by, And then they see that she's actually at his house. And they also knew that not only was Haley telling her friends that she didn't want to be in a relationship with him, Haley was actually telling them she didn't even want to be friends with Orlando anymore. However, they saw her location at his house, so they decided to go over there and check on her just in case. Now, that same day, Orlando's sister had actually called the police to ask them to conduct a welfare check on Orlando after she received a concerning text message from her brother. Officers did go to Orlando's house and they tried knocking on the door, but no one answered, so they left. They said that nothing seemed out of the ordinary. However, there was something very out of the ordinary. When Haley's roommates, Josie and Michelle, got to Orlando's house, they tried knocking on the door, but they too got no answer. Orlando's car wasn't there, but they knew that Haley's phone was there. So instead of leaving like the officers did, they decided to go find a window that was open so they could get inside. Talk about good friends, you guys. Now, Josie helped Michelle climb inside first, and then Josie followed behind. They walked around in the house looking until they went into a bedroom, and this is where they found their friend Haley partially under the covers, like she was sleeping in Orlando's bed. Josie and Michelle said that the first thing that they noticed was how pale Haley looked. It actually scared them. It took them back. Like they thought that she looked like she was no longer with us. So they just went and called 911. The officers and the paramedics arrived at the house, and when they got there, when they checked Haley, they confirmed that she had indeed passed away. The medical examiner said that Haley had passed away from manual asphyxiation, which was basically by compression by a necklace that Haley was wearing. The investigators believed that Orlando's motive was jealousy, and they figured that Orlando must have done what he did to Haley while she was sleeping, but they wanted to figure out how Haley went from playing board games at home to being found like she was in Orlando's bed. So they checked surveillance cameras in the area, and in footage, they saw Haley go into Orlando's house with him willingly. Then a few hours later, the footage showed Orlando leaving his house all alone. They said that Orlando went to a local pharmacy to purchase sleeping medication, and then he went back to his house. Then a few hours later, they saw Orlando leaving his house again to go down to his basement. Investigators believe that at that point, Orlando tried to end it all. Now, in the basement, the investigators actually found hooks drilled into the ceiling that had a necktie hanging off of them. They also found a note that Orlando wrote to his late father that said, "I'm really sorry about this. I never felt that I could be capable of doing this. Father, I'll see you soon." Orlando's father had actually passed away 5 years earlier. The investigators did believe that Orlando used the tie, but it must have fell and he got injured. So like he was getting ready to go through with it. It broke. He was probably like, and instantly started coming up with a new plan. The surveillance videos then showed Orlando leaving his house again, but this time he had a suitcase with him. Now, using surveillance cameras, the investigators were able to track Orlando to JFK International Airport, where there he got on a flight to go to where? Back to Nicaragua. On March 11th, Orlando was officially named a suspect. The district attorney said that he would be filing for an arrest warrant and that he hoped it would make the Nicaraguan government extradite Orlando back to the U.S. So Orlando was arrested by the Nicaraguan National Police on March 13th at a local hospital where he was actually on watch for his previous attempt that happened down in the basement. On March 17th, back in the U.S., Orlando was officially charged with second-degree. However, because Orlando had this dual citizenship, the Nicaraguan authorities decided not to extradite him back to the U.S. It wasn't until a year later, in September of 2019, that the Nicaraguan authorities went and charged Orlando with femicide, which is a specific crime in Nicaragua. So he was living free for a year, probably thinking that nothing was ever going to happen to him in this country. And if he didn't have dual citizenship, they would have sent him back. But since he had citizenship there as well, he stayed out for a year. Now, in Nicaragua, Orlando was not required to make a plea. Also, juries are not used in the trials there. Instead, a judge would actually have to make a judgment. So during his trial, the prosecution argued that what Orlando did to Haley was just out of a jealous rage. So the prosecution is like, he did it for no reason. He was just mad and upset that he couldn't be with her. And so he does it out of this rage. They also said that they believe that Orlando felt like if he could not have Haley, that no one could. And witnesses from the U.S. actually testified virtually. Some of Haley's friends talked about how obsessive Orlando was and how he would just randomly show up at her apartment like we had talked about earlier. The surveillance footage was played for the judge as well. Orlando's defense team, however, argued that Orlando had absolutely no memory of what happened that night. They claimed due to Orlando's alcohol use, he was temporarily insane when he did what he did. Now, can you imagine if that was a defense? The amount of things that college students, I don't know about y'all, but I know me too, younger, drinking, you wake up the next morning, oh my gosh, what all happened? If that was a defense, he drank too much, couldn't remember, so he was insane, can't be held responsible. Are you kidding me? And the defense only called one witness, and the witness was a psychiatrist that testified about Orlando's state of mind. This psychiatrist said when he examined Orlando told him that he drank heavily that night and he had no memory of what he did to Haley. Okay. The psychiatrist also said that there was no way to know for sure what Orlando's state of mind was that evening. But he said that at the time of the trial, Orlando's state of mind was normal. Yeah, because he was sober at trial, right? I mean, if that is the way that people are judged on doing crimes, especially like this, That would be terrifying. Imagine every DUI situation where people lose their life. Horrifying. Now, before the judge took the case under consideration, she allowed Haley's family to have the last word. Check this out.
Haley was a beautiful, intelligent, and friendly girl. She was an aspiring nurse and had her whole life to look forward to. She was and still is my best friend. So thank you for listening and letting me speak on behalf of my daughter.
Now, after that, the judge went and thought on everything that was said for 90 minutes before delivering her verdict, and she delivered a verdict of guilty. I was ecstatic when I heard this, researching this. She said that she believed that Orlando could not accept that Haley was free to make her own decisions, so he decided to dispose of her. The judge then went and sentenced Orlando to the maximum sentence that he was able to get there, and that was 30 years in prison. The DA back in the U.S. put out a statement after Orlando's conviction, and the DA said that we saw something that we have not seen before. But we saw two governments working together, law enforcement agencies working together. We are pleasantly surprised by the outcome, it seems. Now, Orlando did try to appeal his conviction. His lawyers asked that he have another mental evaluation because the first was performed by a court-appointed psychiatrist that did not specialize in temporary insanity cases. They also argued that Orlando faced a second-degree charge in the U.S., and that would have carried a lesser sentence had he been convicted there. So they wanted his sentence to be reviewed. His appeal, however, was denied, and Haley's parents said that they were very grateful for the denial, and they both released a statement. And Karen, her mother, said, "Thank you very much for not granting the appeal. I have not seen any remorse from him. I've only seen regret that he is not going to be able to lessen his sentence. Unfortunately, I don't even think 30 years is enough, but I appreciate all the work that you have done to convict him to the fullest extent of the law." Gordon, her father, said, "I thank the Nicaraguan court system. I was a little uneasy when it first came about, not having control of the situation here in the United States, but as the trial progressed, I quickly felt assured that the right thing would be done, and I think a remarkable job was done." Gordon, her father, said that he wanted Haley to be remembered for the compassionate person that she was, one who had a zest for life, and one who lived to spread joy and love. Authorities back here in the U.S. have made it very clear that if Orlando is released and he returns back to the U.S., he will be immediately arrested and face trial here as well. What do I think? I think this is another story, a Gabby Petito situation, or, whatever, where we have a young person who, keeps going back to that toxic relationship. And I get it. I was young once too, and I was, You think that when, a lot of y'all watching this too have been in toxic relationships. I'm sure most of y'all. And if you're in one now, please consider these stories and these words. Most of the time, when you're young like that, you have the opportunity to grow through it, right? You look back and you go, oof, I'm glad I got out of that one. But then you have these certain situations like Gabby and Haley, where they didn't get that opportunity. They didn't get that opportunity to really learn and look back and go, I'm glad I got out of that. That's definitely not what I wanted. And the fact that Haley seemingly just went over there after she was done playing with her friends' games and drinking is such a, what I feel like, normal thing, right? Like you're a young college student, you've been drinking all night, you got that ex that's a little toxic, but you want to go climb in his bed and you're not telling your friends because it's embarrassing. And then this type of thing happens and it's absolutely devastating. I believe that Haley did absolutely nothing wrong. And I think that Orlando thought he was going to get away with this by going back to his country, and he didn't. Let me know what y'all think in the comments section down below. Other than that, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.